Wednesday show. Wednesday show. Wednesday show. I don't know if anyone's out there. We're a few minutes later than late because we were supposed to be usually at 9:30. Today or last week I said it would be 10 o'clock, but then I was saying my goodbyes to my one niece and nephew today, so we're a few minutes later than usual, than the even more delayed time. Hey, Wacky TV Studios, how you doing? All right, so tonight we're going to be going through and answering your Disney questions for the next half hour. We're going to only do a half-hour episode, as you know, or maybe you don't know. But if you guys have ever been here during when I'm visiting my family, we usually do shorter episodes because this is my last day or the last night with my parents before I head out tomorrow to go back to Florida. So starting tomorrow, we will be back in Orlando. So let's get this party started. And we're going to start the 831st episode of the Wednesday show in 5, 4, 3, 2. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the 831st episode of the Wednesday show. Today is July 23rd, 2025, and I'm your host, as always, Brent Dodge. Hello. Today we're going to be going through and answering your questions about anything and everything Disney. So start throwing your questions about anything and everything Disney into the comments below, and we'll go through and answer all of them. But of course, before we get to that, let's talk about our news for the week. I have a feeling that someone will probably ask this in the thing. We'll probably spend a good deal amount of time on it. But the only big news besides things like New Parade at Magic Kingdom, which I've completely avoided, so I don't know anything about it, I will be seeing that next week on my days off. I'm going to be working on Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday when I get back. So I'm not going to be able to see it until Tuesday. But I will see that next week. And then today was the official reopening of Test Track 3.0. And then in addition to that, we also got the exciting news that the Magic of Disney Animation Building will be an animation building, kind of, once again. But unlike in the past where we used to have it, so there's actual animators there working on movies, it doesn't sound like we're going to have that, but we at least are going to have it. So we will be back in the wonderful world of animation. So I look forward to that. I hope you guys look forward to that as well. And of course, as always, thank you everyone who's been joining us for our Saturday in the Park. If you didn't already know, every single Saturday we do a live broadcast from someplace found throughout the Walt Disney World Resort. You never know where we'll be coming to you from, but I promise you we will always be coming to you live from Disney. And we missed it this last Saturday because we were off doing our family badminton tournament. Don't worry, we won again. But we will be coming back at 1 o'clock Eastern time. So make sure you join us every single Saturday for that. And actually, while we're on the topic, because we did not do this last week, let's take a look at our numbers. We are currently at 8,765 subscribers. So send over a friend or two, or what is that? 1,235. So then we can hopefully hit our 10,000 subscribers pretty soon. Also, in addition to all that news, if you guys did not watch my video earlier today, my full video, I've posted 3 shorts because my niece and nephew wanted to have it, so we made some shorts together. But if you did not watch my full video today, we did announce that we are bringing back our greatest crazy challenge of all time, one that we failed at because of a flight delay over in Austin, Texas. But we're going to be attempting the Coast to Coast Crazy Challenge once again this coming up September. So watch out for more details on that, on when it's going to be coming out for you guys to watch on here. And also that we're actually filming it because we like to have any and all positive vibes being sent our way as we do it. We will be attempting it once again with my friend Frank. So yeah, I'm excited. I cannot wait. Okay. If you guys missed our intro, we are going through and answering your questions about anything and everything Disney. So throw your questions about anything and everything Disney out in the comments, and we will go through and answer them over the next few months here. Not a few months, the next 30 minutes here. So start throwing your questions in the comments. Tonight's episode depends on you guys. So throw your questions out there about anything and everything Disney. If Disney Parks brings back Country Bear Musical Jamboree to Disneyland or DCA, where would it be? I would replace Winnie the Pooh to tie into the Hungry Bear like a successor to Food. So the Country Bear Jamboree originally was found over where the Winnie the Pooh attraction is. Actually, fun fact for those of you guys who have never gone on the Winnie the Pooh attraction over in Disneyland, when you're going into one of the rooms, it's like the first room that's like darker. If you look above your head, you can actually see the heads of Max, Melvin, and Buff, the moose, the buffalo, and the stag that are found on the wall during the Country Bear Jamboree. You can actually find them above you because that is actually the original location for the Country Bear Jamboree over in Disneyland. That opened up on March 24th, 1972. So roughly 4 months after Magic Kingdom opened up with the original Country Bear Jamboree. If it were to go over to Disneyland or DCA, where would it be? I feel like there's enough space actually to the left of the exit of Country Bear, or I'm sorry, Winnie the Pooh. So if you're looking at the Winnie the Pooh exit over in Disneyland, on the left-hand side, there is a, there's the store there, but between the store and the exit, there's like a little bit of spot place. And I think they actually have enough room if they wanted to expand out there. I mean, they don't have a lot of room to expand in Disneyland, but I do feel like because we've ran back there during the different Run Disney races in Disneyland, I do feel like that you can go out that way a little bit more. All right, keep on throwing your questions out there. Tonight's episode is just answering your questions. So you guys, if you don't have any questions, we will not have a very long show. So keep on throwing those out there. Let's throw this one at you guys. In the meantime, while you guys write your questions down, who out there is excited for the Magic of Disney Animation Building returning to its former glory? Ooh, maybe not. People are quiet in the chat room tonight. I also don't know. It's showing that my internet connection is not as strong as it usually is right now. Here we go. What are your favorite parade floats, past or present? So my personal favorite one is just more of a sentimental reason, is going to be the flight float during the Share a Dream Come True parade. So the Share a Dream Come True parade had a few different iterations of it. But in 2004, there was the flight float, and it's the one that had it so all the floats looked like snow globes. But if you would go through and watch the Snow Globe Parade, there was different themes for every single one of the floats that paid tribute to the princesses or characters that flew and different things like that. They're in a villain's float, which is really cool too. But I really like the flight float because in it, first off, you had it so it was the genie, and then inside of the snow globe portion, we had the magic carpet from Aladdin, along with Aladdin on top of it. And then if you looked around on the side, you can find a bunch of different characters who either flew or they were part of characters that flew. So we had characters like Dumbo, we had characters like Peter Pan, and then of course, we also had Bernard and Bianca from The Rescuers. And if you guys have never heard the story, here's a little quick version of the story. My first book from Screen of Theme, this is when I usually go like this because we're usually in my condo and that's where the poster from Screen of Theme is. Now we just have Return of the Jedi. But my first book from Screen of Theme, it started off with me playing pretty much a game while I was doing my college program. And we were just kind of going through and pointing out different details. And I saw Bernard and Bianca on the float there. And when I noticed them, I was like, oh, that's really cool. I've never noticed that before. I wonder how many other places I can find Bernard and Bianca in Walt Disney World. And so I started paying more attention to all the different details and the hidden characters around the parks, which led to me writing a book about every single movie reference found in the parks. So yeah, a lot of the float just means a lot to me, mainly due to that. For non-sentimental reasons, there's this amazing parade. It's more of a block party. It's called the Block Party Bash. And that parade had a really cool Monsters, Inc. one. And they would shoot out all the different balls at the end of the Nerf balls. And I used to go to it every day with the goal of someday having an entire ball pit filled with Block Party Bash balls. And I know what you're thinking. There's no way you can make that dream come true, but we did. Down in my condo in Florida, I still have, to this day, literally hundreds, if not thousands, of Block Party Bash balls from that parade. It was just the greatest parade. But I loved the Block Party Bash. I love the floats on that, and I also liked the Share a Dream Come True / Celebrate the Magic / all those other names that parade kind of went through throughout the years. Okay, keep on throwing your questions out there. If you guys have any questions about anything and everything Disney, we will answer any and all questions as we go through. We're going to do a quick check here, too, because I wrote to my Patreon people earlier, but I just don't think I gave them enough time to see if they had any questions as well. Let's see if they popped up with any. No, I don't think any of them saw it. I've not been active online at all over the last week. Oh, also, it's just showing that I have no internet or no service in here. I forgot to connect to the internet. I literally just got home. I walked in the door at 9:06 this time. So we're a little behind schedule here. All right, let's see here. Yeah, no questions. Okay, let's go to our next question in the chat room then. Name the 3 most forgotten characters in Mickey and Friends or anything. Ooh. I feel like Horace Horsecollar doesn't get enough credit. I feel like Clarabelle Cow got enough. She gets enough recognition now that a few years ago it was said that Clarabelle Cow was kind of a forgotten character, but I feel like now a lot of people know who she is. And I see a lot of people online who see pictures of her and Horace Horsecollar and they'll be like, who's that guy who's next to Clarabelle Cow? So at least they know Clarabelle Cow. Horace Horsecollar, though, I think is one of the ones. And 2 other characters that I feel like no one even knows they really exist is Morty and Ferdy. Morty and Ferdy Mouse, obviously. We all know them, right? Maybe? No? Morty and Ferdy are the nephews of Mickey Mouse. So actually, and to go off of that, we could also say April, May, and June. April, May, and June are the 3 nieces of Daisy Duck. So Donald Duck has Huey, Dewey, and Louie. And Daisy has April, May, and June. They're not just months, but they're also the months that daisies are in bloom. Oh. But overall, a lot of really, really cool different details about, or a lot of hidden characters, forgotten characters around the Disney universe. We need a Dinoland USA fact about the Boneyard. Okay, let's talk about my favorite detail in the Boneyard. And actually, I might have it on video without having posted it yet. So let me check that real quick here. So if you go to the front of the Boneyard, I'm like 99% positive I have this as like a video to post sometime in the near future, or maybe I already posted it and I forgot that I posted it. So if you go to the Boneyard, nope, that's not it. Oh, here we go. We're just going to zoom in on here. If you go to the Boneyard, this is from Christmas time, so ignore the giant bone on there, or the giant bow that says to Pluto from Donald. So we've got the Boneyard sign, and let's point out a few different details about the Boneyard sign. First off, if you look on the far left-hand side there, you can see a little arrow pointing to the left with the letter Z. And then obviously it says the Boneyard Fossil Fun Site, established 1947. Below that bow is another little Z that is pointing to the right. This is actually not Z's, but if you would actually turn it this way, you would actually notice it's an N pointing north. So if you look at the Boneyard side from this angle right here, this is actually a map of what Dinoland USA, I'm sorry, what Disney's Animal Kingdom opened up as back when the park first opened up. So if you go down to, wait a minute, this is confusing me. If you go down to the bottom part here, this would be the entrance of the park / Camp Mini Mickey's / Dinoland USA. And then this central area right here would be representing Discovery Island. We did not have an Asia yet when the park first opened up. That would open up in 1999. And then this part up here would be representing Africa. So the Imagineers realized that one of the dinosaur shoulder bones was close enough to the shape of what Disney's Animal Kingdom looked like on opening day. So they decided to throw that in there as a nice little nod to both Disney's Animal Kingdom and as just kind of like a cool link for dinosaurs. So it's one of those details that most people just don't really pay attention to, and I personally absolutely love it. All right, let's keep on going through. If you guys have any questions out there, throw your questions into the comments, and we will go through and answer any and all questions as we go through here. Are you excited about the changes coming to the launch bay? I am extremely excited about the changes coming to the launch bay here. Wait a minute. Okay, I was going to say it's Amelia. I just saw your next question here. Let's go to Frank's real quick. Didn't even know there was a Felicity mouse. There's an Amelia field mouse, and I was like, but Felicity and Amelia are kind of interchangeable. There's a lot of random characters that mainly appeared back in the comics, especially back in the 1930s and 1940s. The Mickey Mouse comics were massive back then. They are still going on to this day, kind of. Right now, the comics are on hiatus, but we will see more and more of them in the coming years, hopefully. So the way that the Disney comics work is originally they were being published by not Disney, but by a different company. And Disney keeps on having it so different companies can publish the comics for them. So what they'll do is they're kind of like doing not freelance work, because it's the Disney people who are actually working on the comics, but they go to other companies. So for like a long time, there's this company called Gemstone that was doing a lot of the comics, and then Gemstone decided to, go out of business. So then they came in and had a different company come through and do a lot of the comics. And it's other comic companies that do a lot of the other things. Right now, Marvel's been doing a lot of Disney comics, but they have not picked up the old comics. So they have a Mickey Mouse Adventures comic series, which I've got quite a few of those comics. I also have quite a few of the Donald Duck ones. There was also a Walt Disney Comics and Stories, and there's also my personal favorite, the Uncle Scrooge comics. And there's also like side Uncle Scrooge comics too. There's Uncle Scrooge, and there's also Uncle Scrooge Adventures. Uncle Scrooge Adventures is not as good, in my personal opinion. But yeah, there's a lot of random Disney characters that people don't know about, and a lot of them just appeared in those old comic books. So if you did not go through and watch those old or read those old comics, there's some characters that you'd probably be like, that's not a real character. And it's like, haha, but it is. Okay, seems like a lot of Mickey Mouse Family Group there is. There's a lot of Mickey Mouse Family Group. That's where we got a lot of the Donald Duck Family Group too. That's where actually Uncle Scrooge made his first debut, was in the comics as well. They should have those characters as the runs. Yes. Okay, keep on throwing your questions out there. We're going and answering as many of the questions as possible. We still have about 15 minutes left, so keep throwing those questions out there. Okay, so are you excited about the changes coming to the launch bay? I am so excited. Okay, so let's do a little history about the launch bay, because there's a few people that I've seen online kind of talk about the launch bay, and they've said that the launch bay is a thing that was supposed to be permanent. And I don't know where these people are getting their information, because the launch bay was created specifically back in like 2016-ish, somewhere around there. Don't quote me on the year, maybe 2015, specifically to help promote Star Wars Galaxy's Edge. So that was right around the time when Star Wars Galaxy's Edge was being built both in Disneyland and Walt Disney World. And so what they decided to do was to kind of hype people up about Star Wars and having Star Wars in the park. In Disneyland, they made a Star Wars launch bay that was found where the Carousel of Progress used to sit. And then they also built a Star Wars launch bay in Disney's Hollywood Studios, because Disneyland Park would receive Galaxy's Edge, and then obviously Disney's Hollywood Studios would receive a Galaxy's Edge as well. So they decided that they're going to have it, so they're going to have these temporary areas where you can go through, you can learn about Star Wars, you can go through and learn about the history of Star Wars. And there was a really cool video that they used to have with Dave Filoni, and they unfortunately got rid of that around the time of COVID because they, social distancing, and they just never brought it back. But inside the launch bay, there's a few cool artifacts, but they've taken a few out throughout the years. And obviously, we've got the meet and greets for Chewbacca, Darth Vader, and BB-8. And then also you have the special meet and greet with Darth Vader as well, if you are a Disney Visa card holder. But it was only supposed to be temporary. It was only supposed to be until Star Wars Galaxy's Edge opened up. And then they just kind of stuck around. And I always loved the magic of Disney Animation Building. It was always one of my favorite places. I used to go there all the time. Like, especially even back in like 1989, 1990, like when our family was going there when it first opened up. I've got some of my earliest memories of Disney is inside that building. And so when they closed up the launch, or not the launch, when they closed up the animation stuff, I was heartbroken. I was there literally all day long. And I remember looking at I brought from Screen of Theme in my book. I brought from Screen of Theme in there, and I was like, most of the stuff in this book can now be thrown out the window because a lot of that book dealt with the stuff that was found inside that building. So to bring the animation building back into the animation courtyard, they never changed the name of the animation courtyard, that area between Little Mermaid and Star Wars Launch Bay and Disney Junior. All that area has always been considered the animation courtyard, even though we have not had the animation stuff at all. So to bring back animation into that area, I'm very, very excited. I cannot wait to see what happens. It will be opening up in 2026, so just next year. But those areas will be closing up in September of 2025. So in 2 months, actually it's 2 months and 2 days from now, Launch Bay will close up along with the Disney Junior show to make way for the construction of this new stuff. But I'm very excited to see what's going to be there. It sounds very promising. So yeah, we'll see. Keep on throwing your questions out there. It looks like we've got one question left in the chat room. We got time to answer probably three or four more questions. So keep on throwing them out there. How about a fact about Silly Symphony Swings or Goofy's Sky School? Ooh, what's my fun fact about Goofy's Sky School? I got a cool one. Yes, I do. Okay. So when you're going through into Goofy's Sky School, first off, Goofy's Sky School is one of the scariest attractions of all time, but I absolutely love it. I have to go on it every single time I go out to Disneyland. When you're on Goofy Sky School, when you're going through the queue, right at the point where the regular line and the Lightning Lane line merge together, you can find a bulletin board there. That bulletin board has several different references to so many different random characters, but one of my favorite random references in there is Big Al from the Country Bear Jamboree. You can actually find a little nod to him on there, where one of the letters is being written from Big Al to Goofy, asking about the flight school, or maybe it's the opposite way around. I can't remember, but you can find Big Al's name on there, which is just a really cool reference. A Silly Symphony Swings fun fact. Let's talk about a fact that drives me crazy. So the Silly Symphony Swings, this is just one of those things that it's historically inaccurate. And if I was an Imagineer working with them on this project, I would have said, hey, you guys are making a mistake here. So let's go through it. So the Silly Symphony Swings is modeled after the 1934 Mickey Mouse short cartoon called The Band Concert. It was the first concert, or the first animated short that Mickey Mouse ever appeared in, where he was in color. So in this short, Mickey is conducting a band concert, and he starts to play his first does William Tell, and then he starts playing, is it still William Tell? It's William Tell throughout the whole thing, right? I think it might be. And he gets to the complicated part. And when he starts playing, and all of a sudden a tornado comes through, it picks up all of the different players of the band. They start going through the entire sky. They're all going, it's chaotic, it's crazy, it's a lot of fun. And then eventually they all crash down, and the entire time Donald Duck keeps on giving them a hard time, because he keeps on taking out a flute and playing his own song instead of having it. So he just sits there and listens like a good guest would. With all of this stuff going on, the thing that the Imagineers got wrong is the band concert is not a Silly Symphony cartoon. It is a Mickey Mouse cartoon. It is not a Silly Symphony cartoon. So the Silly Symphony cartoons were a group of cartoons that Disney started to produce back in 1929 all the way up until about 1940, I want to say. Don't quote me on that. It might be a little bit earlier. It might be a little bit later. I can't remember exactly when. But the Silly Symphony cartoons was a group of shorts that Disney had created to help do experiments about different things that would help propel animation forward. So things like the Old Mill, we've talked about multiple times, especially when we talk about things like Tom Sawyer Island. But the Old Mill would work on the multi-plane camera, so people could be able to see three-dimensional, or, depth inside of the cartoons. So we had all these different things kind of scattered around, but the first time they ever used color was in a short cartoon called Flowers and Trees. So I was like, maybe the animators are just thinking, or the Imagineers were just thinking that because it was the first time Mickey was in color, it was a Silly Symphony. But even with that, the start of it does not have the Silly Symphony logo. It just has the Mickey Mouse logo. So it's just a little mistake that the Imagineers had done. And if I was working for them, I would have said, no, we have to think of a different name. Like maybe, I don't even know, or have a different theme. Overall, I love the Silly Symphony swings. It just drives me crazy that they did have that one mistake in there. All right, does anyone out there have any more questions before we wrap up tonight's episode? And while you guys possibly send in a last question here, just a reminder, next week we will be back to our normal time of 9:30 to 10:30 for the show. So I do apologize that the last 2 weeks we may have thrown you off a little bit. Frank, I don't know if you're still in the chat room. Frank, I have not told people when we're doing the Crazy Challenge, but I have said that we are doing the Crazy Challenge. Are you excited for the Crazy Challenge? Frank is going to be the person who did the Crazy Challenge with me back 3 years ago. Was it 3 years ago already? Yeah, 3 years ago. In 2022, we did the Crazy Challenge. And this year, we will be attempting the Crazy Challenge once again. And I am extremely excited. I cannot wait to hopefully change the tide. Last time, if you guys missed it last time, wait, is there a way for me to share? Can we share one of my old videos on here? I don't know if I can. Okay, so this is what I was thinking. Now Frank and I are going to be going through here. Let's pull up my notes here. Frank, okay, there we go. So this is you guys just watching Frank and I now plan a thing, and we're going to have an entire Wednesday show episode will be done during the Crazy Challenge. We won't be doing a very long episode that night, but we will be doing a little bit because our Crazy Challenge is going to be on a Wednesday. So the ones that we have to do is Space Mountain, Astro Orbiter, Speedway / Autopia, Mad Tea Party, Dumbo, Winnie the Pooh, Carousel, Peter Pan, Small World, Haunted Mansion. Both the holiday version and the regular version should be open up that week. Tiana's Bayou Adventure, Pirates of the Caribbean, Jungle Cruise, the Walt Disney World Railroad / the Disneyland Railroad. However, we have to check to see what time the railroad runs in Disneyland, because if it runs at a later time, then when we arrive, then we don't have to do that one. And then potentially the Treehouse / possibly the Tiki Room, Big Thunder Mountain Railroad, and Buzz Lightyear's Space Ranger Spin / Astro Orbiter. Both of those are going to be under refurbishment here in not here. I'm in Wisconsin, but they're going to be on a refurbishment in Orlando. So because they're under refurbishment in Orlando, we don't have to do them over on both Disneyland as well, because we don't have to do it there. I am thinking that we will have to start off the entire thing on the monorail, just like we did last time, because the monorail is an attraction out there. So we have to go through and figure all this out. We still are working on all the logistics, but we do have our plane tickets. We've got quite a bit of the plan in place, but we still have about a month and a half to get the rest of the plan in place. So I'm extremely excited. I cannot wait to hopefully redeem ourselves and actually pull this one off. Okay, it looks like we might have one more question here. If you ask the magic mirror and the most misunderstood villain of all, who would it be? I would be saying Captain Hook. Okay, so this is from the Villains Unfairly Ever After over at Disney Hollywood Studios. I've seen it twice. Both times I've seen it, Maleficent has won. I just want to see Cruella or Hook win. I would prefer... Cruella's my favorite Disney villain, but Hook, I think out of the three, is the most misunderstood. So yeah, I'd be saying Captain Hook as well. Okay, but we are going to be wrapping up tonight's episode right here. I'm going to go spend some time with my family before I have to fly back out tomorrow. Thank you, everyone, for joining us once again this week. Please keep on spreading the word about the Wednesday show and from Screen to Theme. And send your friends over here to subscribe. Like I said, we were like 1,200 subscribers away from hitting the big 10,000. So send one, send all. We'd love to have a ball. Until next time, remember that anything can happen if you let it. Until next time, have a great week, everybody. Bye-bye. Goodbye now. Goodbye. Goodbye now. Goodbye. Goodbye. Are they gone? Are they gone? Oh, good. My cheeks are just killing me. I just can't stand this kind of pressure.